My grandfather lifted his glass at my 28th birthday dinner and detonated my entire life with one sentence. Aaron, why don't you tell everyone how you've used your $3 million trust fund after 25 years? Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and tell us where you're listening from. The room in that Bellevue restaurant felt like a staged magazine spread. White tablecloths, soft amber lights, expensive wine breathing in crystal. But the second he said $3 million trust fund, the air turned solid. Forks stopped. Even the candles seemed to hold their flame still. My throat went dry. I don't have a trust fund, I said. I never got one. Grandpa Walter's smile collapsed. My mother's expression flickered from confusion to panic, to that fake tight smile she uses when she's 2 seconds from losing control. My father's glass hit the table a little too hard. My younger sister Brooke let out a nervous laugh, like it had to be a joke. It wasn't. To understand why that moment didn't just surprise me but unstitched my whole life, you need to know how we got there. I lived in a cramped walk-up in Seattle with my roommate Nina. She smelled like espresso most days from her barista shifts, and was the only person who saw me hunched over my laptop at 1 a.m., chasing freelance UX contracts just to keep the lights on. Across the lake, my parents lived in a house people slowed down to photograph. Perfect lawn. Perfect seasonal wreath. Perfect holiday photos posted with captions about family blessings. Inside that house, though, was Margaret, my mother, who believed reputation was everything, and me needing help was a stain on the glass. Robert, my dad, floated through it all with the quiet cowardice of a man who would rather disappear into his newspaper than into a fight. Brooke, my little sister, lived in a world of fully paid tuition, rent-free apartments, and surprise vacations. When my car died on the highway in college and I called home, my mother said, "You're an adult, Aaron. We can't bail you out every time." As if there had ever been a first time. When I couldn't afford my textbooks, she said, "It's not fair to Brooke if we keep rescuing you." Sitting at that birthday table, those moments clicked into place like teeth on a trap. The next morning, I stepped into my grandfather's downtown office and was greeted not with hugs, but with paperwork. Bank statements. Transfer logs. Years of signatures. Walter's lawyer, Jonathan, slid a thick folder across the table like evidence in a criminal trial. "This," he said quietly, "is what your parents did with your trust fund." Jonathan opened the folder, and the weight of 25 years slid across the polished table. Neat columns. Recurring withdrawals. Signatures that looked too familiar. My parents' signatures. Over and over and over. Mortgage payments. Kitchen remodels. Brooke's private school tuition. Brooke's apartment rent. Vacations. Cars. Luxury charges. Every line was a receipt for a lie I had lived inside without knowing. My chest tightened. All those times I begged them for help. All those nights I worked double shifts. Walter nodded slowly. "You didn't struggle because life was unfair," he said. "You struggled because they stole what was yours." I didn't cry. I didn't collapse. I felt something colder, sharper, a clarity that cut all the way through me. "I want everything," I said. "Every document. Every missing dollar. Every lie." Walter placed a steady hand on my shoulder. "Then you'll have it. And they're coming in on Thursday." Thursday arrived with a sky the color of steel. I walked into the conference room feeling like I was walking into a courtroom. Except this time, I wasn't the one on trial. Walter sat at the head of the table. Jonathan stood beside him with a stack of documents so thick it looked like a textbook. My hands were steady for the first time in years. The door opened. My mother entered first, stiff and polished. My father hovered behind her, eyes darting like a trapped animal. Brooke trailed after them, confused and pale. "What is this about?" Margaret snapped, dragging us into some formal charade. "Sit," Walter said. She sat. Jonathan placed the stack of statements onto the table. The thud echoed like a verdict. "These," he said, "are 25 years of withdrawals from Aaron's trust fund. Signed by both of you." Silence. Then denial. Margaret tried to blame accounting errors. Misunderstandings. Robert mumbled that it was for the family. I leaned forward. When my car broke down and I begged for help, was that for the family? My father's face collapsed. Jonathan kept reading aloud. Year by year. transaction by transaction. Every page another nail in the coffin of their excuses. Walter exhaled sharply. I am revoking your financial authority immediately. Margaret jolted. You can't. I can, he said. And I have. Jonathan slid a new set of papers toward me. This transfers full remaining trust control to you. Your parents' access ends permanently. My hand didn't shake when I signed. Margaret's breath hitched. Robert closed his eyes. Brooke whispered. I didn't know. Aaron, I swear I didn't know. I believed her. But belief isn't forgiveness. As they stood to leave, Margaret looked at me with panic, not remorse. This will ruin us, she whispered. I met her eyes. Then you shouldn't have built your life on money that wasn't yours. Over the following weeks, everything changed. Jonathan secured the remaining assets. Legal warnings were sent to my parents. They went silent, finally forced to face the truth without a scapegoat. I moved into a small condo overlooking the water. My space. My name on the deed. My life rebuilding itself one quiet morning at a time. Walter visited one afternoon. Slow steps but warm eyes. You deserved this, he said. And you deserved it years ago. I didn't tell him I cried the first night I slept there. Half grief. Half relief. Grief for the parents I thought I had. Relief that the cycle was finally broken. Some evenings I sit by the shore and let the cold wind wash over me. I'm not healed, not entirely, but I'm no longer drowning. And the silence around me finally feels like peace, not punishment. Family isn't defined by DNA. It's defined by honesty, accountability, and the people who don't vanish when the truth becomes inconvenient. If you've ever stepped away from people who should have cared for you, I want you to know something: you're not alone. Your boundaries matter. Your story matters. And the moment you choose yourself is the moment you start taking your life back. The fallout didn't happen all at once. It came in waves, slow, heavy, unavoidable. A week after the confrontation, I received a thin envelope in the mail. My mother's handwriting. Inside were 3 sentences. Aaron, we made mistakes, but we're still your parents. We did what we had to do to survive. Please don't destroy us. There were no apologies. No accountability. Just fear. I folded the letter and placed it back in the envelope without responding. Not out of hatred, but because I finally understood something I spent my whole life avoiding. Some people only love you when you're useful to them. And I wasn't interested in being useful anymore. Jonathan called me 2 days later. We finished the full audit, he said. Your parents illegally withdrew more than $5 million over 25 years, including interest. $5 million. $5 million of a life I could have lived differently. Will there be charges? I asked. That depends on you. For a long moment I stared at my ceiling. The one in my new condo that didn't leak. The one I wouldn't have to patch myself. No criminal charges, I finally said. Just restitution. I don't want them in jail. I just want what's mine. He nodded. I'll file the civil suit. It was justice, clean, controlled, documented. The kind that leaves no room for gaslighting or manipulation. Brooke visited me unexpectedly. She stood at my doorway, mascara smudged. Hands shoved in her pockets like she wanted to disappear. I didn't know, she said again. Her voice cracked. I swear I didn't know they were using your money. They made me think you were the problem. I believed her more now than I ever had before. We don't have to be like them, I told her. Her shoulders dropped as if someone had unhooked a weight from her spine. That was the first moment I realized. Not everyone raised in the same house grows into the same person. My new beginning. My condo is small but bright. Nina drops by with cinnamon coffee. Grandpa Walter brings fresh flowers every Sunday. And for the first time in my life, I wake up without the taste of survival in my mouth. Some scars stay. Some relationships don't rebuild. But some truths finally set you free. If you're listening to this and you've ever been mistreated by the people meant to protect you, I want you to hear me clearly. It wasn't your fault. You weren't imagining it. And you deserve a life that isn't built on someone else's lies. Your peace is not selfish. Your boundaries are not cruelty. Your story matters. And if this story stayed with you, follow the channel so you don't miss the next one.